Make some noise for producer and co-creator of Snowfall, John Singleton. Next up, we have Damson Idris. Make some noise. Mr. Franklin Saint. Next up, we have Angela Lewis, Aunt Louie. Make some noise. And last but not least, we have Carter Hudson, Teddy McDonald. Make some noise.
The CIA is in the house. Watch your backs. The CIA is in the house.
So let's get straight to it. Let's talk about some of the major differences from season 1 to now with the show itself and the characters.
The major difference that you'll see, not to give away the season because y'all got to watch the show. Are y'all going to watch the show every Thursday? Yeah. And tell everybody to watch the show? Because the major difference between last year and this year is that you start to see the different characters from the various worlds of LA start to interact with each other. And that's what's going to make it really even more intense and more interesting.
Because last season was all about laying the groundwork, and you're taking it to the next level this season.
Yeah, I mean, last season was the setup to really show people who don't know anything about this what it was. And now we're just ramping up and really getting it to the game gets really, really hard and intense.
Yeah, my next question is for Damson. We've seen your character evolve so much. You started as the nice, young, innocent guy to now some people will even say the bad guy. You're the head guy in charge of a drug operation. You fell out with your mom. So just talk about how your character evolved a little bit.
Wow, so when we first met Franklin, he was really green and he was really just a sweet kid who loved karate and wrestling. But in season 2, he's really, I like to use the word bossing up. And he's taking control of his operation, but there's going to be a lot of outer and inner conflict, so he's having to deal with that, and he's growing from a boy to a man.
You see how good an actor this dude is? Yeah. This is the way he really talks.
No, I'm American. I'm just British now. I'm trying to.
So when you see him up there, he acted. He's like, he's acting. He's an actor. So. Go ahead, talk some more. Say some more. Talk British.
Fish and chips.
Talk British, sure. The ladies love it when you talk British.
So, Angela, I have been wondering this since last season. What is your relationship with Claudia? What is really going on?
Yeah, Louie and Claudia have a long, long history. She used to work for Claudia. Claudia kind of discovered her in a low moment in her life. And they had a falling out, and she introduced Franklin to Claudia because she knew that Claudia could make some things happen, and now we're going to watch the rest of the story unfold.
Thank God I was nervous you're going to tell the season. Good stuff, Angie.
And for Carter, Teddy, the CIA agent. Is Teddy based on a specific person in real life? Is he a combination of people?
It's really interesting because they can't prove that there were any of the specific people that were probably doing all of this. So they kind of refer to them all under this umbrella of, they call them, I want to say it's like Officer C or something like that. It's some weird, it's just like a placeholder for like the people that were doing this. And I think that he's an amalgamation of a large number of people that were doing this, and they kind of put all of these real life people into this one troubled guy.
Wow. Okay, this is for John. So, what storyline besides Franklin do you feel is the most critical to this story?
I mean, I'm not just saying it because Carter's on him, but Teddy, because he's the arbiter of the whole thing that happens, because he is doing what he believes is right for God and country, and he's just like really is a patriot, and like Walter Mosley, my mentor, says in the writers' room, like the most dangerous thing is a patriot, because a patriot was willing to do anything for God and country. You know what I mean? Like at the huh? Well, he's not
said
that
like
patriot.
elect Trump.
Like, as we have seen, that guy is not that patriot. But I'm saying, but someone who really truly believes that whatever they do is right for their country is a dangerous individual. I mean, so. And that's interesting to me as a character. I told him, I was like, the more, I tell this guy as an actor, I said, the more dangerous we can make you, the better for your character. You can't be the nice guy. Like, no one remembers Robert De Niro, Al Pacino roles when they played the nice guy. They remember the guy when they played the badasses. You know what I mean?
And he's in that weird position where he kind of has nothing to lose, to lose, and he believes that he's completely justified in doing all these things. He thinks it's the right thing to do. He thinks he's saving the world, and has all these.
And he's pushed away his family. He's pushed away his significant other and his kid for this mission. So he's like,
and then he killed a person at the end of last season. So that leaves a person. Where is that? That was the fun thing to play with this year. Is like where's the person?
He killed a person and chopped him up. Don't forget. Yeah. For those of you who didn't see last season, go back. Chopped the dude up. His right hand dude. He's grimy. But that makes him cool though. Y'all like like grimy people on TV and in movies. I like grimy characters. I've always liked grimy characters.
I'm not grimy, I'm a saint.
You're becoming a very grimy character on this show. This is like, you see the guy go from like new booty in the drug trade getting his ass whooped to being like Scarface. Black Scarface.
So, John, when you're writing the different storylines, do you ever feel like, oh, is this too much? Should I not put this in there?
No, I'm always... how many people saw the first season? Okay, so you gotta watch the first season, but I'm just not giving. Watch the first season for those who haven't seen it. I'm always in the writers' room, kind of improvising out what I think or what I feel happened. So I'm like, my whole thing with narrative is, first and foremost, how can I shock black people? Because we've gone through so much shit in this country that we're not shocked about anything. We make jokes about black people killing each other or about the police killing us. So whatever hurts us, we kind of laugh off and, like really hurts us, we find jokes in because we try to deal with it psychologically. So I'm like, okay, how do I put something in any story where I'm shocking black people? Because if I shock black people, I got everybody. You know what I mean? And so you'll see some of the stuff in the show. I'm basically trying to shock black people, and I know I'm going to get everybody else because they're like, we're in a kind of an interesting moment in television where there's so many different programs. Like, I mean, how many of y'all watch Netflix and be like, there's so much shit that I can't decide what the fuck to watch. So, I'm as a storyteller, I'm like, how can I do something that people can't turn off? Like, it's so interesting and so different that you want to watch it. You want to tell your friends. It's that moment where you go back to work and say, "Did you see that show last night? Did you see?" So in the writers' room, we're all sitting there playing the dozens. Like, what if he did this? What if he did this? And then somebody says, "Oh no, we can't do that. We can't." And I say, "No, that's why we got to do it because you said that. Because we shouldn't do it. That's why I want to do it." So I'm not, that's my process, just telling you.
Now, Damson, I want to go back to your American accent. You're so convincing on the show. Like, you have perfected that accent, hasn't he? Yeah, make some noise for that. So how hard was that to do?
Wow. Oh, man. I lived with Snoop for 6 months. I didn't. I'm playing. It was actually with Meek Mill.
Philly.
I have Dub C on set with me every single day. Who knows who Dub C is? Do you know?
West Side Connection.
There's some gangsters in the room. All right. So Dub C is from West Side Connection. He's basically my dialect coach, and he walked me through this, and I couldn't do it without him. So I'm basically on set every day. I'm American every day. So as soon as I arrive on set, the way I work is I put my costume on, and then I'm Franklin straight away. And then I'll go in the makeup trailer, and they'll be like, "Good morning, Damson," and I'm like, "It's Franklin." And that's how, man. I was just really tough on myself. And I did that all throughout season 2, even though I already had it. Because, you know, even Tom Brady's got a private coach, even
It's
though you
always-
guys hate Tom Brady.
It's always spooky at the end of the day when you would like drop the
Talking about
accent.
Tom
You've been doing
Brady.
it for like 15 hours of the Franklin thing, and then you suddenly we'll be like mid conversation. He'll just suddenly transition like mid sentence back into his real accent. It's like oh god, don't, you could have warned me before you do that.
Awesome. So, Angela, what do you enjoy the most about playing Aunt Louie?
Man, Aunt Louie is so fun. I love everything about her. I like it when she gets buck wild because that allows me to kind of just drop. You know, I have to just really go for it. There's no like, you can't have any fear. You can't have any insecurities about how you might look or how you might, if you're doing it right or wrong. You just got to trust that you practiced, especially when she's fighting, that you know the choreography and all that stuff, and you just got to go for it. Otherwise, it doesn't sell, and she's not Louie. I also like it when she's a little more tender. We'll get to see that a little bit this season. That's fun because it's scary for me, Angela, because that's where I'm closest to Louie. So I felt very vulnerable this season in a scary, good way. So, yeah.
Y'all see how sweet she is, like in real life? She's like the most gangster person on the show. The character is like the most gangster, but willing to go and do anything, you know, for family and for this whole game and everything.
Now, Carter, let's go back to the last scene of the episode we just saw. Wow. Cliffhanger, right?
You ain't have to do that.
Do we have to?
We have to. So what do you think about the way Teddy chose to introduce himself to Franklin?
So it's like a real thing. Like it's not just exciting like a TV moment. Like that's like a CIA tradecraft thing. Like if you, I don't want to talk too much about why he does it because I think we explored a lot in the episode that airs tomorrow night. But it's all methodical and planned out and for a purpose and he's got a pretty twisted brain. and makes him good at stuff like this.
But you could have just taken me to dinner, man.
Okay, so we're going to take a few questions from the audience.
How did you have problems with the networks getting this produced? And how come they
Not
didn't
at
kill
all.
your ass? I got your back
Why
while
you
you're
gonna put that in universe? Why you
Okay, my
trying to
bad,
put
man.
that
I'm
in
gonna pull that back, but God bless you because they killed Gary Webb and you know it.
Well, it's funny because way before this show was even thought about, I wanted to do that Gary Webb story, and then they ended up making a movie out of it. So, I mean, network was for it. So, you know, I'm happy I got people watching over me to see if the feds, you know, try to get at me, you know.
Hi, good evening. My name is Donald Schuler Jr. This question is for Mr. Singleton. Mr. Singleton, as an actor and a writer, I have some trouble sometime in the pre-production process. And I wanted to know how long was this pre-production process for you with the casting and the writing, if you can give that example. Thank you.
I mean, it was only like maybe a year or maybe 8 months from coming up with the idea to actually selling it and stuff. And so this show actually was at Showtime before, and then Showtime forever decided not to do it, and then the next day they decided to do it. FX picked it up, so they were like whereas one network didn't get it, this network got it, and then once FX, which is the premium cable network, basic cable network, is like, you know, it's impeccable in terms of programming. Once they decided to do it, and it was coming up to be a hit, then Showtime was like, oh, we need to get our own thing. So that's how they ended up getting a shot, because they were like, we need our own thing. Like, so that's the truth. What happened? So it's cool. It's success. It creates opportunity for other things. I love the show, actually. I love what
It all
they're doing on
started
the
from
show.
Empire, actually, didn't it?
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
All right, how you doing, Mrs. Singleton? This is Sterling Brown. My question is, where's Jerome?
Where's Jerome Wynn?
The Jerome character, Uncle Jerome.
The actor?
Yeah.
He in Harlem.
All right.
He at home in New York. We left him in New York. He didn't get the train.
All right, cool. So, how many episodes are we getting this year?
Huh? 10. It's 10 every.
It's
10
gonna be
every.
10?
Yeah.
All right.
So y'all gotta watch every episode and tell everybody. You know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
remember
hard to do this. It's really y'all gotta understand. I'm not pleading for y'all to watch the show. It's a good show. I don't have to beg y'all to watch the show. Y'all know the show's good. But I'm saying it's hard to get that real shit on TV. It's hard to get. It's like you have so many hoops to like jump through to like get the real stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm really proud of this thing because it's something that, you know, I never would have envisioned just as a kid or just a television viewer, you know, even now, like seeing a show like this. Like we're a part of the show and we watch it and sometimes I'm like, I got that past them. I got that. We got away with that. We got away, you know, like when you have something interesting, you know, and you be like, yeah, we got that, you know. Like you make a mixtape. I have, but it's like, you know, it's a whole other thing, but from TV to film because in television, you basically can reach more people than putting a movie in the theaters. Because when you move in the theaters, you have to come to the theater to get it. Television, it's on there and it's also on a streaming platform, so more people will see what you do on television than in movies.
What was your thought process behind the coloring of the television show? Because I noticed the colors are a lot different this
I go on to that.
Sure, go ahead, Brother Franklin.
Yes, I get to speak. The colouring was actually John Lindley, our DP. He made the colour change throughout the scene so the audience would know what world we're in. So for Franklin, it was very colourful. For Teddy, it was very grey. And for the Spanish world, he used, what was the term?
It's more amberous. It's
yeah,
more
like
yellowish
amber lighting.
amberish.
So any time in season 2 when you see the different worlds interact through the colours, you can tell who's going to win the scene.
And it's very subtle. It's real subtle. It's real subtle.
My bad, bro. I didn't even mean to do you like that. My bad.
But it's interesting because, you know, it's funny as an actor, you're talking to the DP about different things. He's like telling you what, you know, what he's doing. Because this guy wants to be a director. He's going to be a director. He's always directing on his iPhone. If you follow his social media, he's making these little movies. And put music behind him.
Hey, I'm Mina. I'm a fan of the show, you guys know, and I just love the strong women characters that we have in the show. Angie, I love your character, mainly because in real life you're like super sweet. And then you turn into like this gangster woman cooking crack in the kitchen. What do you do to get into character? Like, do you listen to music? Are you putting on Meek Mill? Like, what do you do to get there? Because you're sweet, you know. And every time I see you speak, you're just very sweet. How do you get into character?
I think it's really just, it's all there in the script. And plus, my castmates are amazing. And so when people like disrespect me or like reach their hand in front of me when I'm standing right there, that's when Louis jumps out. And so all of these situations are those situations. So it's not that much of a stretch. I'm learning. And so
Hey, don't slip. She's from Detroit.
Yeah.
Don't. She's sweet, but she is from Detroit.
So it's just right there. Yeah, the preparation is to just come loose, ready to play.
Yeah, I love your character.
Thank you.
Akeem, beware. I wanted to ask Damson a question. Right here. What's going on, man? I wanted to ask about, as you're playing Franklin, it's kind of like he seems to be kind of transitioning from like this good kid into almost a bad guy. I want to know, do you think he ever sees himself as a bad guy? Like, does he ever regret some of the things he's done or feel maybe he went too far? I mean, I don't want to mess up the first season for anybody, but if, you know, you make somebody do something like that to their closest friend, how do you see yourself after that fact?
I mean, it was shown on screen, man. He was traumatized by that when that happened. You're referring to the episode 10 when Ray did what he did. But for me, just going forward in a nutshell, playing Franklin, the beauty about that character is he has no idea what 2018 is going to be. So he's doing all these things impulsively. Cocaine's calm. He didn't get into it to be a gangster. He got into it to help his mum. But when you get your ass whooped, you're going to be a gangster. And that's what's happening with Franklin. Throughout the season, he's kind of just trotting along, as John calls it. You know, he's experiencing these things, and he's, you know, strategically attacking it. So as he turns into the man, his soul is being stripped away from everything that's happened to him. Like everyone here in this room, if we was in the 80s, we would all be Franklin. Deep.
You know, it's really interesting too.
Mic drop.
But it's really interesting, like being people like Franklin's protector, like the people who love him, but also are like, you know, attached to this opportunity. We want to see him move up. We want us to move up with him, but we also like love him and don't want him to be hurt. And Louis has moments where she's like, "Oh God, what's happening to my nephew?" You know what I mean? So it's a really complicated.
I will give one
space.
thing away if the show lasts a very long time. He's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to his community. Like you see like this, you know.
Thanks.
I'm just saying. I mean, that gets him going. Just say, he's going to be a monster at the end of this whole thing. And I'm not talking about this season. I'm saying throughout the whole thing, you get a chance to see this really sweet, you know, cool boy become like basically lose everything that he loves.
Yeah,
like, and everything he loves.
crack will do that to the best of us.
Yeah.
And that's why it's bad.
That's what the game
Hey,
does.
yo, my fault. Hey, what's going on, John and all that? How y'all doing? My name Ghetto Reese. I just wanted to know two things. One, John, when you gonna need some music for your upcoming soundtracks? And two, what like with the characters, what do y'all think some of the similarities are with the characters with y'all actual lives? Like, what's one of the biggest things that y'all take from the characters and apply it to your lives?
I'm gonna let the actors answer those questions.
No, I was done with you, John. I was done. I asked you the music. The characters is right there.
I don't need no music right now because for this, because I'm using all old music, you know, for the thing. But you know, but you got a CD, you got a little.
No, I don't got nothing little, but I'll talk to you after this. Characters, thank you.
You ain't got no little drive or nothing. You talking about music and stuff?
Nothing little, John.
You didn't come with nothing.
Nothing little, John.
What you ask a question for? You ain't got music to play.
I got flash drives and all that for you, but we ain't got nothing little.
Okay, hey, actors, answer the question, please, about how similar you are. You know.
For me, I'd say the biggest similarity between Franklin Saint and myself, Damson Idris, is our relationship with our fathers. Like many people in this world, my dads aren't in our lives. Mine wasn't. And as I'm growing into a man, I'm trying to get in touch with him and understand him. And so is Franklin. For anyone who saw season 1, this is a big issue in our community. We love our mums, but we need to love our fathers too, you know. So that's definitely a big similarity between me and him.
I feel like the one thing that they did when they cast the show is they cast a lot of actors that no one has ever seen really before, and then most of us weren't from California, and we were suddenly all working on this TV show, and we were in California, and you start to feel this sense of it really highlighted the idea that all these characters are entering into this drug game not knowing what they're doing, and screwing up a lot. And I would feel that all the time. Like last season, we had there was an episode where my wife came into the show, and on the day we shot that, my wife came from New York to visit me in California, and she'd never been. And I was like, you know, trying to like show her like, oh, look at this really cool thing that I'm doing here. Isn't California cool? Isn't working on this show cool? And we're shooting, and I would go on set and we'd shoot these scenes where my wife's there, and I'm like, hey, I'm selling cocaine in Los Angeles, and isn't this really cool? Like, isn't this really cool? And it started to really trip me out as the day went on. Like, this is kind of nuts. I think if you open yourself up to those things, you start to see your life dovetail with your work all the time.
I would say Louis and I both just want to be seen the way we see ourselves. We are we both know deep inside that we're power players, even if we don't know exactly how to get and make it happen, but we are. And when people don't see that, it bothers the fuck out of us, and we hate it. And yeah.
That was Louis right there.
How you doing? This question is actually for Teddy. I love the whole show, but last season we saw your partner, your son. This season, are we going to see any more emotional attachments? Because the one female that you were starting to kind of, because that's why you killed your right hand, essentially, because there was that little bit of emotional attachment. So are we going to start to see some more of that this season as well?
Well, we meet my brother here, and he plays a very big part in the show this season. And speaking of the way real life overlaps, like I worked with Jonathan, this actor, a lot, and we got really close. And a lot of this season is about our relationship. My storyline is about our relationship and what it means to involve your family in this thing. And yeah, it's definitely, I think it's more emotional than last year, but it's a little more focused on that relationship.
What's up, y'all? My name is Carlo Campbell. I love what I saw just now. I haven't seen season 1, but I am like, I'm just all into Uncle Jerome. I want to know like what type of energy, like how he seems like as an actor, he seems like he's having all the fucking fun. Like seems like he's balls deep in the fun. And
He has a name for his wig. You know what his wig's called?
What is his wig's name?
Sheila.
Yes.
Oh, Sheila, let me love you.
I mean, y'all got some stories about how he gets into it, how he lifts y'all up, because he seems like such an integral ingredient in the humor of it, but he seems so real, but he's close to caricature. But I know niggas like him, but you don't get to see that. You don't get to see niggas like him on the screen, and I want to hear.
I say,
can give me some.
I always tell Eamon that you're everybody's uncle that is on the porch, like smoking his cigarette, you know what I mean, like, you know, and then talking
Need to
shit.
get your weight up.
And got his little fifth. He got his cigarettes and he got his fifth, and he sit there smoking, you know, and doing whatever, you know, and then lifting weights or whatever. He always got a comment about everything. He's that dude on the block that's smoking his shit and got his fifth, and he just know everything that's going on the block. He's somebody's uncle. You know what I mean?
For me, I've done a million scenes with Eamon, and for the best thing I get from him as a young actor is his energy, man. His energy really lifts me up. And if I'm ever nervous, he's so in it that I can't be, because I'm having so much fun with him, you know? So
he goes there. What's great about him is whatever's on the page as an actor, he does what actors should do. You know, he lifts it up. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really interesting because, you know, and Carter, I think you experienced this also in some of the things, especially in next. I'm not trying to just get you to watch tomorrow night, but when you get a chance to see what's on the page and then you get a little improv, it's like we're storytellers, we're dancing with each other. These guys act it out, and then as storytellers, we're watching and massaging the performances, but it's like a dance. It's like, you know, we're like a jazz band. You know, they're instruments and we're instruments and we're playing together. And really to see actors like, you know, these guys and Eamon, you know, play is like, it's fun. It's like, because you know, we're sitting there watching like this monitor behind it and then you jumping up and down. You know, I know I like something when I jump up and down. Like, yeah, that's that. You know, like, yeah, that's that shit. That's that shit. And I'm like, because I feel like I'm the audience. You know, if I'm, you know, it doesn't matter if I'm directing or just producing. If I get excited about it, you know, and I want to talk to the screen and I want to talk to them, then I always evaluate whatever I do by if I can make people talk to the screen. If I can make me talk to the screen, then I know everybody else will be like, that's that shit.
And he's really a smart actor. We talked through our scenes so much. I remember one episode we had a scene and we were like, what the fuck is going on? So we got on the phone and we just called. We were like, okay, we're going to call each other like Louis and Jerome. It was like, ring, ring, hello, hey. And we just like fleshed it out like that. And we are offset. We have debates on what's happening.
Oh, they're always arguing all the time. They're like
so
actual
fun.
husband and wife.
Yeah, it's fun, but he's really smart and really giving as an actor. Like, I love working with him. He just, back and forth with the ball, just back and forth, yeah.
Good evening. My name is Tanish Laverne Grant. I'm a journalist with
We know
Black
your
American.
damn name.
You know what? Don't start with me, Damson. Don't start with me.
Been
My
in every city on his damn toe.
Well, you know what?
I love you.
Strategic
I
partnership.
love you. I love
honey.
you. I'm playing with her. I love her.
Strategic
That's why I
partnership.
could.
Thank you. Oh, yes, my birthday is Saturday.
Happy birthday.
Wakanda forever. Wakanda forever. My question is for you, John. Snowfall continues to safeguard and sustain your legacy as a storyteller. You're an Oscar-nominated director at the age of 24 with Boys in the Hood. Snowfall introduces a young generation to your work. What is the greatest difference between directing on film and directing with TV, if there is one? We'll just talk about the differences that you experience, working as a director.
TV is, TV is, you have no time. You really have to basically know exactly, you can't really, in film you have a little bit of time, but you do a couple of scenes, you may do maybe 2 pages a day sometimes if you're lucky, if you have a nice schedule. But television, sometimes we have to do 6 pages a day, and we still have to make it look like a movie to y'all. You know what I mean? So, but that's a fun exercise for me, because it's like, I look at directing as a combat sport. I've always looked at it as a combat sport. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm on the field and I'm the coach, and like I'm on the set. I'm always like, get to the goal line, get to the goal line. My thing is, basically, how many shots can I get within a day, or can I do a whole lot with 1 shot, or 2 shots, do a whole scene with 2 shots. So I'm playing that kind of game in my head all the time, and then I have to basically let them breathe, because there's nothing without the actors, and let them breathe and create an atmosphere where they feel comfortable doing whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, and making it, as characters, because, and I feel that that's the job as a director. Really, is just I'm kind of a facilitator.
Good evening. Thank you so much for coming to Philadelphia and being here with all of us. My name is India Sage, and I'm here with Purpose PR Agency. Can you hear me? Okay, great. So my question to you is, as I watch any film or TV show, I instantly connect with the character, and I connect with that internal struggle or whatever it is that they're dealing with. And as we see each of these characters progress, they're all going through something. Personally, what is something that you can say that you have struggled with internally or externally that you have overcame?
I always struggle with not being relevant. With like, am I gonna do something that is booty? Everybody does something once, where you fart on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can't fart on myself. I got to do something that is always interesting. I'm trying to be ahead of the game in what, before y'all know what you want, I got to find out what you want. You know what I'm saying? So you got to remember, I started doing this whole thing when I was 22 years old. And I went through film school. When I went through film school, I went to film school with people that nobody looked like me and told me that I would never make it. And I was like, in hip hop. So I was like, fuck y'all. They said, my stories have never been told before. So I know I'm going to make it, right? And I knew Spike Lee when I was in college, because I met him coming out of high school. So I was like, Spike Lee cool, but I'm watch when I come with my shit, right? So my thing was like, and I felt that I had to have this kamikaze attitude towards storytelling that, where I just basically would do what I felt my passion was. And I got lucky on the first time. Boys and I didn't know nothing about directing, and, seriously, I didn't know nothing about directing. I didn't know anything about cameras and lenses and acting. I learned about acting from Fishburne, who was like my big brother, and he was like, I would go to him and I say, what does Francis Coppola do with his actors? And he would tell me, he would tell me what Francis did, because he did like 4 movies with Francis, starting with Apocalypse Now when he was 16 years old in the jungles of Manila, hanging out with Dennis Hopper and Marlon Brando and, you know, Sheen and stuff and all those guys. And so I always would talk to older people for advice of what to do. You know what I mean? Like, all of my directing, the way I direct, I learned how Steven Spielberg directs. Like, we talked about how, you know, sometimes you do a take and I let you go do a take by yourself, and then sometimes within the middle of the take or the end of the take, I say, do that again, and I talk to you while you're acting, right? Well, Spielberg does it. I learned that Spielberg does. So I did that in Boys in the Hood, and it worked. I got nominated for 2 Academy Awards. Like, so I was like, I kind of know. So I kind of study what people do, and it has been working for me, you know. And so that's, I mean, for those of you who are interested in film and are interested in storytelling, you have to, you know, you have to read Eugene O'Neill. You have to read, you have to read James Bond. You have to basically know what masters do to know how to be a master. You know, you can't just hop up. I know everybody's like taking their phones and like, oh, I can make a motherfucking movie. I do it every day, right? You have to study what is done and what was done very well to be very good at it. And so, even after Boys in the Hood, I hate to be doing a soliloquy, and we had that much time, but even after Boys in the Hood, and before the accolades and before anything, I was scared, because I was like, oh shit, I did this great thing the first time out. How am I gonna fuck it up? And so I locked myself in my new house with all these laser discs, and I would study filmmakers, different filmmakers from around the world, Fritz Lang, Orson Welles, Akira Kurosawa, and I would read the biographies of these filmmakers, and then I watch all of their films. And I would take a notebook, oh, they did this here, they did this. And I started to see a lineage of what certain filmmakers did. And then I started trying to adapt that stuff to what I wanted to do. So, hey, I'm sorry. You asked me.
Last question.
Just a quick question. Just thank you for the very vivid images, great artwork that you guys put on the screen. My question comes from my policy background, and it's just that I want to thank you for showing the structural side, right? Because a lot of times when we see things that deal with gangsterism in the drug game, whether it's Scarface, whether it's Superfly, a lot of times they don't show that side. So we have kids romanticizing it, and it causes some pain.
Oh no,
so thank you for doing the structural side and tying it in. My question is, will you also include the other part of Reagan's structural side, which is where he also shows the drug war, right, and how we triple the black and brown, prison population because of the policies he puts in. So while they're pushing the drugs, they're also pulling the people into the jail. Is that in there as well?
You answer that.
We need you all to go home and write a letter to FX and tell them we need a season 3.
And keep watching. Keep watching now. And
keep watching and you will get everything. This is a long ride. And there's many things that we don't know. But the most important thing about this show is to teach our kids how the past was so they can live in the present positively and be able to navigate their future.
So well spoken. So eloquent. It's like
I'm Nigerian.
It's like, God damn, this motherfucker can speak, man. You'd be shocking me, man. We do this stuff and just like he'd be coming up with some stuff and like sorry. No, that's all him, man. He's like, yeah, oh no, I'm keeping on, man. Hopefully we get some movies done.
Well, this has truly been amazing, and we thank you all for coming to Philly and speaking with us and showing us so much love. Yeah, we're super excited about season 2. The next episode.
Love.
The next episode airs tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Please stay seated as the cast exits the stage, okay? And make sure you hashtag SnowfallFX on all social media. And thank you for coming out.